I'd like to introduce Rosana Rodriguez, who's been with us guiding the movement. She's going to say a few words before we get started.
Hello everybody, good morning. You had coffee already? You ready to go out and get Bernie elected? You are, yeah? I'm Rosana Rodriguez. I am the alderman of the 33rd Ward. I work with Andre Vasquez in City Council. First, I want to give Andre a shout out because being one of two Latina women in City Council and the one that talks the most and is more likely to get herself in trouble, having somebody like Andre next to me means a lot. He builds me up. As well as the rest of the awesome socialists that were elected to City Council. So I'm really grateful that I have an army of mostly Latino men that are standing there with me and that protect me and that are there for me. So I'm thankful for that. So we gotta elect Bernie, right? Like we really have to elect Bernie. And my reason, I have a lot of reasons to want Bernie elected. But my main reason is that we need to build movement, right? Bernie understands that without building the grassroots, without us, there's nothing. He can win, he can have that seat in the White House, but if there's not people organizing on the ground to make those things a reality, it's not gonna happen. We are going to have to fight together to get those things. So Bernie wants us healthy, Bernie wants us student loan debt free, and Bernie wants us unionized. And those are really important reasons for me to support Bernie. So before I started organizing and working in politics, I was a theater artist, and I want to bring a little bit of an exercise to open this canvas today. I won by 13 votes, 13. Every conversation mattered, every door that we knocked, every phone call that we did, every one of those conversations mattered so much. So when we go to the doors, it's very important that we have meaningful conversations with people. I want you to take 30 seconds and think about what your reason is for being here today. What is it that matters to you? What is the story that matters to you? And I want you to hold that close to your heart and put it in your pocket when you walk out. And every time you talk to somebody today, you use it. Your story is powerful. Whatever it is that is making you get up on a Sunday morning and come out in the cold, it's beautiful out though, to do this work. Like you could be home right now, and you're not home because you know how important this is. So whatever it is that made you wake up this morning and come here, I want you to reflect hard on it and take it with you today. Take it to the doors, talk to people, and bring them home. People want to belong. People want to believe that what they need, that the needs that they have, which is the needs that we all have, because we're all the working class, right? Like we have the same needs. We need the same things in order to be happy, healthy, and whole, right? So make sure that you go to the doors and you share that story with people and bring them home to fight with us because this needs to happen. We don't have any other choice. We need to elect Bernie, okay? Yeah. Good luck at the doors.
All right, so next we're going to have Councilman, Alderperson Andre Vasquez come up. I think a couple of you guys know who he is, right? All right.
I know I'm going to be loud on this thing, so I'm going to get on here real quick. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Figured you could. My name's Andre Vasquez, and welcome to the 40th Ward. I'm the alderman here. Yeah. That's just a very crazy sentence every time I say it. 5 years ago is when we first started. I started getting inspired because of a young guy from Vermont, young Mr. Bernard. And that led to me being inspired enough to drive to Iowa back then, come back here and organize a fundraiser called Burnfest, start organizing with the People's Lobby, along with other groups, become a Democratic Socialist, run for office, take on a $1.5 million campaign, and beat a 36-year incumbent to become one of 6 Democratic Socialists in Chicago City Council. It took a movement to get us here, and I want to thank all of you for that. I want to thank Tristan and Jacob and everyone from the Bernie campaign for putting this together. It's amazing. I want to thank the Assyrian community for allowing us the opportunity to use this space. This space is awesome. So I was working, when they told me I was going to come up and talk, my brain started scrambling. The way my social anxiety works, immediately I'm like, what do I write? What's the thing? How do I read it? What are we talking about? And you get to the point where you think so much you get lost in it. And so one thing just kept bouncing around in my head. I'm a little hot. One thing kept bouncing around in my head was, oh yeah, this whole thing. But one sentence kept bouncing around in my head, and it's something that I figured I just wanted to talk about. And the sentence was, revolution is an act of love. I just want to sit in that. Revolution is an act of love. There's a lot in that I want to unpack. When I think about everybody here that I'm looking at, the term that comes to mind are siblings in a struggle. That every single one of us here, no matter what color, no matter what gender identity, sexuality, income, anything, we're in struggle. We've lived our lives feeling uncomfortable, inadequate, like we weren't enough, like we weren't part of the cool club, and have had to beat ourselves up about it. And sometimes we don't know how to handle that in our society, and we lash out against others, and we don't think about what us really means. And that's what I wanted to sit in, because it's very easy when we're all being oppressed and pushed down to have those moments where you're by yourself, the lights are off, and you feel like you're completely alone in the world, that no one's got your back. If you've ever felt that way, put a hand up. All right, now I want you to keep the hand up. Keep them up. I want you to look around. Yeah, none of you guys are alone in that moment. Every single one of us goes through it because we live in a society where we are all oppressed. And what we have to begin to understand is that what we have is a shared struggle. And if we have a shared struggle, then we have a shared oppressor, and we have a shared prosperity. And a lot of times if we don't identify that, it's very easy to be divided and be told that, you know what, life is really hard. That's why that person over there is taking your stuff, or that person has a better life than you do, rather than identifying what actually keeps us from building community, from building power, and from ultimately changing the way our society works, right? And everyone skirts around the term. I want you to think about every single thing in your life that's held you back, every weight you've had to carry, everything that's broken you. And then I want you to understand that behind that, someone made a profit off of it. For everything, every war we have, if you look in the mirror, you don't feel cool enough, you're watching TV, so you've got to go purchase something, you got to look like somebody else, because the system we live in makes you feel that way. So that the only way you can solve it is by purchasing something or escaping somewhere and not realizing that we're all being attacked the exact same way. And so what really brings me together with everyone here is I think the folks in the room here understand exactly what it is that's keeping us from prosperity. We call it capitalism. And the reason why we say that, it's not a party, it's not Trump, it's not Republicans. It is the act of someone being so greedy that they're willing to make money off of your pain and your struggle and actively work so that you put yourself against someone who very much seems to shares the same struggle you do, just so they could make their money. That's it. And now it's gotten so insane that we've got a circus freak in the White House. And what does What do some decide is the best way to take them out? I've got it. Hold on. I got a billionaire who's also racist, but like a little less crazy, and like also says he's a Democrat. Can we do that? Can we bloom no matter who? No. Because why? Because behind that, it's the same problem. It's someone still making money off you, whether it's Bloomberg, Bezos, or whoever. What they're trying to do is keep you from actually finding freedom, justice, and equity. They want you to say, you know what? It wasn't as bad as the last guy. This guy's way better, right? So you should just wipe your brow, be happy that we avoided, you tell me, avoided every possible thing you're afraid of. We saved you because now we've got something that's a little bit not as crazy. That in itself is crazy because all of us have lived in this world. We've lived in this environment. We haven't been able to pay bills, right? We do our damnedest to try to get an education because we're being told that, you know what? You could be valuable, but you're not working hard enough. You're not studying hard enough. So here's what you should do. You should sign up for this really great education, and we're just going to saddle you with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt so that you can spend every day once you're out kind of regretting why you did it, hoping you can pay it back. But you're not going to pay it back because interest is going to make it even more. But if you can just kind of make it by, maybe you'll make a little more, and maybe you'll be all right. Because that's the system we're living in. We're fighting against capitalism. It's got a longer name, I like to call it. Racial, patriarchal capitalism. The power of someone to divide you through any means necessary. And living in a world where you're so broken that you allow it to happen. And I think Bloomberg cut my mic off. So, he must have heard us. So, what I wanted to talk about as far as that is, as much as capitalism beats you up, it also has another tool that kind of helps you feel better about yourself. Privilege. Every single one of us here has privilege. I know it's easy to look and go, the 1% do. Every single one of us does. Right? Like, I'm a person of color. I'm still a male in a patriarchy. Right? We still have women who suffer in a patriarchy. We have women that are white. Right? There's always something where people go, you know what? I know life sucks, but like, it sucks a little bit less for you because we're going to give you this privilege to lean on. And what we all understand is it's not enough, and that's not what a collective is about. So I want you to think about that when you go to the doors. Because every person you talk to at the other side, they've also got their level of privilege and their same level of struggle. So when they say, you know what, I don't know, my candidate is, Amy or Pete, that's cool. That is, no, I want you to think about this. I want you to understand this. Because our job is not to convert and tell them they're wrong. Right. If we're going to fight for people who aren't like us, those are people that aren't like us. If they say that's who they believe, cool. I'm 40 years old. It wasn't until I was 35 that I started knocking on doors and actually realized what I wanted to do. We only have 30 days left. If you think you're going to convert everybody at the door, you got another thing coming. Your job is not to do that. Your job is to find more of us. Oh, hey, that's your candidate? Cool. I wish you the best. We want the same thing. We want to have a better world. Hopefully we'll figure that out. Let me go to my next door so I can find somebody else because we need to grow our movement, not change people. We need to grow it. And when people see what we have, they will come. The same way they expected us to be blue no matter who, and we came out after the primary last time because we understood what the fight was, they will understand it as well. But what we can't do is automatically shame or make somebody feel like they're wrong because that is mimicking the same system we're trying to change. Exactly. Now we got the mic back on. Way to go. So what I want to share with you is something that I think you should really think about, and I want to thank Alderwoman Rosana for starting it out. Like, think about your story. Think about the thing that's made you hurt, but that's also allowed you to have hope and joy, and that brought you this morning to talk to people. Because Bernie is with us, but Bernie's not with us. right? But I'll tell you what works at every door I ever knocked on. Your story. The one thing that changes everything is when people see somebody at the door who's a stranger and there's not a profit margin involved with you knocking on their door. You didn't go sell them anything. You're not a utility person. No disrespect to anybody. You came as a volunteer to talk to somebody. So your story matters. And when you do that, you establish connections that create heart-to-heart relationships. Because I may not know you, but I know if we talk in 5 minutes, I will feel your struggle because I've struggled as well. I know what it's like not to feel like everything's going well. I know what it's like for me to have a family that I've got to make sure I support, or that I've got to pay bills, or that my interest rates are going up, or that I'm losing my mind trying to survive out here. That stuff is across the board what people feel, regardless of what income level they feel or where they land. So I want you to think about your story and you share it with them. You tell them, you know why it should be Bernie? Because I saw this thing that he said and it made me get up. It made me get off the couch. It made me come to your door on a Sunday because we got 30 days left. And you should know that matters. That for all the candidates you're talking about, are they knocking at your door? Because I have yet to see a campaign where you have people coming up knocking at the doors at the level we do. I want to just do one more thing before I roll out because I like to get the crowd hype. I was a rapper, as some of you might know. Especially if you lived in the ward. Sorry about that. Okay. So I want this side of the room. It's cool because it's split down the middle. You guys say not me when I point at you.
Not me.
Yeah, you guys. All right, so you guys say us when I point at you.
Us.
All right, now we're going to try this out.
Not me. Us. Not me. Us. Not me. Us. Not me. Us.
Not everybody.
Us. Not me. Us.
Get it out. Get this.
Not me. Us.
Not me. Us. Not me. Us.
Not me.
Do you know why that's dope? I'll tell you why that's dope. Because if you know your history, you know what country we're in, when you think about the Constitution, right, the first thing that comes up is we, the people. Not me and you, the people. We. Us. So it's not about me. By the way, I'm running for committee person. I'm supposed to mention that as well. But it's not about me. Right? It is about us. It is about the fact that right now in this room with you all, I feel like family. I feel like there are people that I don't even know that have the same passion, the same pain, and the same hope for what this world will become, and that's why we're here doing it. And as long as we've got that going on, we're going to win more city council seats. We're going to win more state seats.
Yes,
we're going to get more judges that actually feel the same way, that are absolutely fair. That's the kind of world we live in. We're going to get not just one president in office, multiple presidents in office. Also, one quick thing. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm a Democrat. Don't get it twisted. It's not about what club I'm in. It is about the values of why we're doing this thing. I am for the people, of the people, by the people. It don't get more democratic than that. So when anybody tells you, I don't know, he's not a Democrat, he's a socialist, ask them what they mean by big tent. Do you actually mean a big tent where you want people to come in, where you want marginalized people that don't have the privilege to actually get involved in a party, to be a part of that party? Or is it a big tent with a bouncer in the front? Because a big tent doesn't have a bouncer in the front. A big tent, you don't pick it, well, sorry. If you're a pro-life, got problems. But even then, I love you. We need to talk and have a conversation. I'm just being real. Because everyone comes to understanding at different times of their life. So we need to have a conversation. We know what our party stands for. But guess what? You're not going to tell me I'm not a Democrat. Not with the world that I've had to live through and the stuff that I've had to fight through for people that want to take credit and say they want to fight for us. Right? Who will tell you what they fight for, but when it comes to their votes, when it comes to actually doing it, they don't do it. I'm a Democrat. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm a person. I'm a product of this society. I am here to change it like the rest of you all, and I'm glad to be in community with you. Thank you all so much for that.